Peace, y'all. Happy Saturday. Had to come out here outside, pause my walk, and sit down where there's light so I could record another weekly lesson. But today, really quick, I want to make it simple, sweet, to the point. Something that I wrote about in my daily newsletter, one of the daily gems for today. But I kind of got the idea from the quote that you can't pour from an empty cup. You know, some of us, like myself in life, we love to help people. We're big-hearted, and we want to help everybody that we come across. You know, maybe that'll be the masculine trait naturally, or we were just raised that way. We were just raised to help everybody. Even if we don't have it, we have a natural urgency, a natural sense of wanting to help people around us. And I kind of just want to talk about self-love for a minute. You know, just prioritizing yourself for a certain amount of time before you make others a priority in your life. Now, granted, we may always have an example where we have to help somebody else, like for example, our children or our mother and father, you know, whatever the case may be. But today I want to kind of push that aside and just focus more on ourselves, focus more on yourself first and foremost, because if you don't build yourself up first, if you don't fill your own cup up first, you're not going to have much left over at the end when it's time to help yourself. And you know, that's kind of where we get the ideology of getting the shit end of the stick. And sometimes we do that to ourselves. Maybe it's not intentional, you know, maybe we don't plan to leave ourselves hanging, but how can we give the best? How can we put the most in for ourselves to produce more to give to others if we never started with the focus on ourselves in the first place, right? So what I wrote about was super simple. I kept the newsletter short, but I just talked about just prioritizing yourself, you know, self-love being picking up a book and always educating yourself. You know, self-education and education in general, it doesn't stop after high school. It doesn't stop in high school. I understand that most people don't want to go to college and they don't go that route, but you should never stop prioritizing your education. You should never stop learning, because when you continue learning, when you continue educating yourself, you're able to produce more ideas that can help you in your life, or you're able to become more valuable when you surround yourself with others and you can actually pour into the mix because you've educated yourself. You're more valuable. And being a valuable person, whether you're a male or female in this time and age, is very important, because if you're not valuable, you're not going to get picked. Simple as that. All right, but just self-love is always prioritizing your education, your knowledge, making sure that you pick up a book or watch the proper content so that you can learn something new that you can actually use in life, right? Something applicable. Self-love is always going to be making sure that you nurture yourself and fuel yourself with the right foods, you know, making the smartest food decisions that you can make so that you can go throughout your day as energized as possible and give 110% to everything you do. You don't want to be lethargic and slow and just inactionable, right? Inefficient. You don't want to be inefficient or inefficient in what you do. Right? People need you to make decisions and make decisions fast so that way you can continue moving through life. And if you don't fuel yourself properly, you're not going to make those decisions fast. You're not going to be in shape and trustworthy and credible how people want you to be or how you want yourself to be, right? You have to be responsible for fueling your body the right way so that you can present yourself as a strong, powerful person, but you can also make decisions faster and make your mind think faster, right? That's something that we don't really talk about much in life because we're just bombarded and flooded with all these food options, but just being more responsible and intentional with what you consume. First and foremost, food, but also content, what you listen to, what you watch, anything you consume, the ears, the eyes, the mouth, you're consuming that, right? Self-love is showing up even when you don't feel like it, right? Whether that's training, whether that's your job, whether that's your business, whether that's a client, whether that's somebody that wants to talk to you, or a relationship, friend, or intimate, right? Showing up even when you don't feel like it, because it's easy to be motivated until you're not. And then it's not easy, but you have to have that mental discipline and fortitude to say, I'm going to show up regardless, even if I don't feel like it. And I'm going to still give this person 110%, or I'm going to still give this job 110%, even if it's not what you love to do. Right? You got to do these things that you don't like with a sense of urgency, or with a sense that you love to do it, because eventually you will love what you do. And if you don't put that 110% effort in the beginning, how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's gonna transfer over into what you do like. And you don't want to develop the habit of half-assing things, right? You don't want to half-step or half-ass anything. You want to go hard in everything that you do, right? Self-love is showing up when you don't feel like it. Self-love is working out, right? I've already talked about it, but just make sure that you treat your body the right way. You treat your body as a temple, right? God gifted you a body, the human body. You got to take care of it so you can make the most out of your time here on this planet, right? Self-love is just always just pouring into yourself first. I know I wrote more in my daily gem, but just so I don't go off topic and rant about other things, just understand that the message is about prioritizing yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. So sometimes in life, depending on what phase in life you're in, because we're all in different phases, you have to be a little selfish first with your time before you could be selfless, right? We all want to help other people. I mean, the majority of people on earth want to help others, right? I'm the type of person, I want to help everybody that I come across, but sometimes I can't, and it hurts me, right? But that just means that I have to do better on working on myself so I could produce better fruit, and know that my cup can overfill with abundance, and then I can help other people, right? Does that make sense? I hope that the point is being delivered, right? And that I'm making sense. You have to be a little selfish at first before you can become selfless. Now, there's always going to be like, well, what about if I have kids, or what if my parents are sick, or what if my best friend is sick? I understand. But let's say, for example, this is a real life example. Somebody I worked with, their mom was passing away. So they were always showing up to work late because they had to take care of their mom. Super understandable. And unfortunately, it's a sad case. But that person still had to show up to work, because if they didn't show up to work, they wouldn't have the funds to take care of their sick mom, right? You still got to do what you got to do. Unfortunately, life is tough, but you still got to handle your business. You still got to do what you got to do. It's easy to make an excuse and be like, well, I'm going to spend as much time as here as possible and neglect this area. But if you neglect this area, that's going to pour into other areas of your life, right? So self-love, you got to start prioritizing yourself a little bit more first, right? It's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to make excuses. It's so easy to procrastinate on what you have to do so that way you can prioritize somebody else first. Like in a relationship, we tend to give all of our time to our spouse and we end up neglecting ourselves. And then somewhere down the line, if you're not conscious enough, if you're not paying attention enough, you're gonna grow resentment towards your spouse because of decisions that you've made of neglecting yourself, right? I've done it before, so I know I'm talking from experience. But you have to have boundaries with other people and with yourself to say that, hey, I told myself I'm gonna do this, so I'm gonna carry it out. And then once I'm done, now I can come back and show people how I did it. I can pour into their cups and show them that, hey, if you want to help people around you, you got to make yourself a priority first. So prioritize yourself. Understand that self-love is the best form of love. You can't love anybody else until you understand how to love yourself first. Peace.